Where are the photographers? Make sure you get the microphone. I'm really excited about this. I feel like a Backstreet Boy. This is amazing. This I'm excited by. This is terrifying. But that's kind of a bit how my whole year has been. I think it's safe to say that everyone's 2016 has been scary, but mine has been good scary. Because one of the things that happened earlier is that I officially stopped being a student, and not like student of life where all, that still goes on, but I stopped being eligible for discounts on Apple products, is what I mean. And that's terrifying because suddenly I don't have that excuse anymore every time I goof up because I'm pushed right now and I'm supposed to be a professional. And every time I mess up, I can't say that I'm a student, it's okay. And so that was my first real realization that I am now a grown-up. So I decided to, take it and go all the way. And what I did next was move to a new city to stay on my own. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, which is how to be an adult. And because I know that a lot of you will now be doing the same thing I've done, leave, and y'all might have some concerns about existing. Well, I'm here to help you. And we'll start off with the easy things like laundry. My advice would be to do it, eventually. And I learned it's actually not that hard. You just kind of throw everything in, and depending on how bad it smells, put the soap, and just let it run through the machine. You'll figure it out. And the whole separating your darks and lights, if you're not comfortable with that idea, or you're just lazy, you can do what I did, which is just take one of them out of the equation and just only wear dark clothes. It stains show up less, and it reflects your soul, and people stay away from you. Now, Swiggy is great, but another adult realization I had was I had to live on a budget. And so I taught myself to cook, and I mean actually cook, because you can only go for so long before cup noodles just starts tasting of sadness. And so I learned to cook, and I started enjoying it. I started buying organic because I'm better than everyone. And it's so convenient now. There are recipes online. It doesn't take much time if you know what you're doing, or pretend to, or you lower your standards. And groceries come home. You don't even have to wear a bra. It's amazing. Now, I am a writer and illustrator, so I work from home. And the thing about working from home is sometimes you forget about the working part. And I found that a lot of my days would just go by watching conspiracy theories on lizard people. And so I had to do something to make myself feel like I have achieved. And so I started exercising and running. And I don't know why I associate achievement with just pain and exhaustion, but somehow I have managed to become much healthier because of it. And another thing that happens when you exercise is that you're forced to shower, which is great. Now, I only put this in because I know that this concerns people about growing up, like how to do your taxes. I don't know. Right now, I don't earn enough to pay income tax, but that's not something I suggest. I don't know, just give it to your parents, I don't know. Okay, yeah, so now it's the real stuff. Now it is the question of, what do you want to do when you grow up? Now, if you are really, really lucky, you can take the advice of, all your parents' friends and dinner parties, and bacha, do what you love, follow your passion. But some of us are not like that. We really don't know what that means. Because passion is it's such a scary word. And I found that I used to pass off a lot of opportunities because I never felt like I was passionate enough about them. But when I finally had to do that and do something and grow up and be something, I decided to do the whole writing thing because it's still what I enjoyed doing. And but this word is still really, really intimidating. And it gets awkward sometimes when people come up to me and I tell them that I'm a writer, an artist, an illustrator, and they say, "Oh, it's so good. It's so good that you're following your passion." And I'm like, I didn't say that. I didn't say it was my passion. And it kind of becomes like that friend I don't know exactly how to introduce. Like, this is just what I'm doing right now. And I mean, we're having fun, but we don't want to put that pressure on ourselves. I mean, I have 3 kids with him, but like, we're keeping it open. You know, I have an open relationship with writing, and I try to allow myself to do what interests me at least. And I think for those of you who are confused, just follow what interests you. Now, I'm going to get a little bit serious here. Um, there are times, now I know it might seem that I'm very confident with, being lazy and stuff, but I actually do have a conscience, and I don't like it when I procrastinate, and I don't like the feeling of deciding to sit down and work, and then next thing I know, I'm researching the gender politics of pockets, and I know the difference between old world and new world monkeys when I was trying to get something done. And then there are other moments when you have these bursts of inspiration, and you get out and you try to do it, but it just tanks, and it's just really, really bad, and it's disappointing. And what I do is I try to still treat myself when those things happen, because living alone, being sad is not always romantic, it's not always fun. And so the only thing that makes sense to me is try to get myself out of it. And one thing I've learned from that is that there are 2 types of distractions, and I think this is probably where the whole introvert-extrovert thing comes from, that even though what would distract me would be to, go out and have fun and socialize, at the end of it, I'd still be drained from that. So, find things that energize you. And for me, that was like sitting at home, taking a break, listening to good music, having a glass of Milo, and and everyone has their own thing. You could watch a documentary online. There's so many of them on RedTube. This is another thing that I find a lot of people, you know, the reason why they don't want to live alone is they might be lonely. And I feel like it was a very important thing for me to feel. Because we all have, well, maybe I'm lucky and I'm very glad that I have a very good support system, but when you're on your own, you don't really have that direct access to them. So I had to learn to do that for myself. And that's where I felt the real adulting happened. Because all this while, I thought being an adult meant to do the dishes and, clean up and do my bed and set an alarm. That didn't happen eventually, but those things aren't responsibility. What was really responsibility for me was taking care of myself and learning to be my own support system. Because what happens eventually is you kind of realize that there isn't just one way of being an adult. Because the moment you think like that, you are kind of pushed into situations expecting things to happen the way they do to every adult you have seen. And what the problem with that is, you really, when you're put in that situation, like I am right now, and I don't know how to end this talk, I kind of expect the video to fade to black, but so I have to just kind of wing it, and that's what a lot of people, we are expected to do. But oh man, what am I even saying? But responsibility comes in finding that space where you decide what being an adult is. It is understanding that you have privileges that you need to use responsibly, understanding that you have shortcomings that you need to overcome. It's understanding that there isn't one way of doing it, and you've got the space now to make it mean whatever you need it to mean, while still taking care of yourself. And, well, that's it. Thank you.